Hello, this is Kelly, the CEO of Everyday CPA. Welcome to another episode of Mint Makes You Money by Everyday CPA. In a previous episode, Don showed you how to set up a budgeted target for your expenses. This is what you plan on spending. Today, I'm going to show you how to easily and correctly classify your actual expenses in Mint so you can compare them to your budgeted target amounts that you planned on or intended to spend for the month. In accounting, we call this comparison budget variance analysis. So when you're at a cocktail party or a bar and you're trying to impress someone you just met, when she or he asks you, "Hey, what did you do this morning?" Don't say you played video games all morning. Not impressive. Do say, "I spent the morning analyzing my spending variance to determine if I am optimizing my savings goals to enhance my wealth." This guaranteed will impress the heck out of them and at least get you a free drink, which is also good for your budget, much better than a Groupon. So here's the process for doing this. You start your Saturday morning with your double cappuccino you made at home because going to the coffee shop is a total budget buster. In a previous episode, Don showed you how to set up a budget for one account. I think it was dining out. After that, you were supposed to have set up your other spending budget targets. She recommended do the ones you really can't reduce easily in terms of frequency and price. Things like rent, mortgage, utilities, insurance, car payments, cell phones, internet. Set up budget target amounts for these. Those are the easy ones. If you haven't done this yet, you might do that now and then come back to this video later. Next, she recommended you set up placeholder budget targets for all remaining expenses. Things like dining out, shopping, entertainment, travel. Initially, you were to just set up placeholder amounts for these expenses because initially you don't know how much you can or should spend in these categories. With your home brewed cappuccino in hand, I want you to write down on a piece of paper a list of your expense category names you created for your budget target. Rent, mortgage, cell phone, car payment, whatever names you use for the budget targets, I want you to write down. You might need to open your Mint app in case you don't recall those names. You don't need to write down the amounts, only the name. Now you are done with the pencil, but keep the paper out. Now I want you to open up your Mint app. Select the Overview House icon at the lower left. Scroll down to Recent Transactions. Now you'll see a list of recent transactions, but I want you to select See All. Now you can see all the transactions in May, April, March. There it is. These are all the transactions that have come in from your bank and or credit card accounts through the Mint account connection. If you haven't connected your bank or credit card accounts, you need to do this now. Otherwise, you won't have any transactions to look at. If you scroll down, you'll see all your transactions for the past 6 to 9 months. If you're just getting started on this, you'll want to get as many transactions classified correctly as possible, but I want you to initially just focus on the transactions in the most recent month, and then ultimately the most recent 3 months, and then you'll get so jazzed about it, you'll probably want to do the most recent 6 to 9 months. I want you to focus on the most recent month. Click on a transaction in there. Let's just say, here's one. Service charge that comes through. Mint has a memory and it attaches it to your expenses based on what it thinks the expense is. Sometimes it's not correct. So here's a check that came in. In a check, it has no idea what a check is. So you always have to give attention to a check. I had already put a category on there, but let's just say check comes in. You see that amount, May 7th, $223. You realize that that's not an amusement category. That should be, you look at your list of expense choices and you say, oh, that was for a category called fun stuff. Big difference between amusement and fun stuff. So you select that, and there you go. You want to make sure that the category in each transaction is the correct one for that transaction. And to do this, you need to look at each transaction and determine, does it pass two tests. Number one, it must be one of the categories on your piece of paper that you have. And number two, it must be correctly matched to one of those categories. So go through the 3 months of transactions, classify all of them. If an expense cannot be assigned to one of your budget targets on your piece of paper, you'll need to go back to the overview, select the plus sign, create budget, and then select either a new category that you want to put on your piece of paper that's your preferred target. Let's say, what did we do there? We said we want to call it, let's say we want to add a new one. We call it, movies and DVDs. Those are really popular these days, right? We're going to call it that. And then you add a budget category for there. And you select that blue flag and you put an amount, and there's your budget for that category. You save that, and then you go back to your expense, and then you select the appropriate category for that particular expense. Once you have done this, you are well on your way to being a budget variance expert, a magnet for men or women who want to hang with uber successful people, and frankly, possibly a bit of a dork. But if it gets you a score, that is a free drink, go for it. That's it for me. I'm Kelly at EveryDayCPA. Thanks for listening.